And here we are. We're live. Welcome back to our channel with me and with Andreas. Hi, Andreas.
Hi, Sylvie. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining today.
So, today I think we have an interesting session. I see that we already have some people connected because we summed up the, let's say, most asked features, but not like the feature that we see in the app. So, what you guys want to, let's say, see or want to have in the future added to magicplan. So, it could be the app, could be the cloud. So, we sent you also emails and messages, I think, that you're aware of this session. So we took, let's say, the most voted features, right, Andreas?
Yeah. But what we also wanted to do for this session, if you have anything that hasn't made it to the list yet, and I kind of assume that you have already put at least one feature request down. I mean, feel free to do that in the chat, Sylvie, right? Maybe we
Yes.
can make this session, as opposed to some of the others, even more interactive. I mean, we've prepared that list, but it would be even nicer to have a little bit of a conversation going on also with you folks in the audience.
Correct. So if you're live with us now, you can, of course, write comments or even more feedback if you voted one of these features that we're going to see in one sec. If you're watching the replay, we have this link. The community, but also here. You can go directly to the feature request page. I can show you the page also. So if you are in your, for example, magicplan cloud, right, you would go on profile on the bottom, and then you have here suggest a feature, and you would land on this page. So you can both submit a new feature request if you don't want to look for other requests, or you can take a look and see what are the top requests, the new requests. Perhaps someone already asked what you would like to have in the future in the app, and you can just add your vote. You don't have to write a text or a message.
And we can
Or
put it in the comments.
correct. Okay, then I would say that we can start with the, we took 12 of your requests that are, let's say, the most requested things for now, and we will see those with Andreas. So I would say let's start from the bottom, and the feature requests that we have is the option to lock corners at 90 degrees of the rooms, of course.
Good requests. I before we actually go into answering each and all of them, kind of some words in advance. I mean, because what do we want to do, right? We want to build an application that's perfect for our users. So that's what we do day to day. I mean, we've been around for over 10 years now, and we would not be where we are today if we hadn't kind of talk to our users and listen to our users and build the stuff that we wanted. And I thought, like, why is it actually that you're asking me, Sylvie, and why not Bernd, our head of product? And the conclusion is, to me, okay, this is some of the decisions where we have to say no, or some of the decisions, even worse, where we might have kind of like took a wrong direction in the past, and now we are trying to play catch up. So that as one word in advance. I mean, much of what we talk today is going to be either because there was a no maybe at one point, and I'd like to explain our reasoning, give a little bit of perspective on the industry or technology or whatnot, just give you a bit of an inside view. And then on some of them, it's actually not such a hard no, but more a yes or maybe. And maybe also, or we want to give you some context around that. And jumping to our first question here, like lots of the features that we are going to talk about today is like about our core functionality, the editor, and how kind of rooms and shapes interact with each other. And that is not kind of individual stuff, right? That is basically all one thing that's glued together in a way. And so some of my answers might be a bit
similar,
repetitive, but at least I'll try to explain the connections here. And I mean, this one that we have here, option to lock corners at 90 degrees, like I actually would say it's a bit of a broader topic, like that you want to define actual angles. Yes, you want to do 90 degrees, but maybe you also want to do 45 or 120 and so on and so forth. And
so that you have more options.
Yeah, you have full control. I think, again, one of the topics that we are going to discuss today over and over again is having control or having full control with like as detailed as possible data entry, or to be honest, we are doing some shortcuts in our mind to enhance the ease of use, okay? So that you have a good enough example early on. I think that is the core decision that we are making at magicplan from time to time. Our understanding of having something that works out of the box and is easy to use versus, okay, this full-fledged computer-aided design software where you can basically input everything to the finest detail. And that is one of them. And one of them that has been coming up repeatedly is those corner angles. And the options to lock corners at 90 degrees is, I think, probably the most basic of those questions so far. So now, what about the actual feature and what are we going to do, right? That's a long intro to saying. So this is something that we clearly understand where it's coming from, where we are currently actively working on finding a solution or providing a solution that gives that option and the option of more detailed angle inputs to the user. Expect this. It's a future plan. This is not a hard no, but it's also not something that I can promise, and I don't want to promise anything that's not happening within that year. So that's the perspective on the 90-degree angle, I would say.
Perfect. Because the next feature request, it's actually, let's say it goes a bit together with the first one, which is a precise snap tool for room assembly that can be, let's say, turned on and off.
Yeah. I mean, on this one, obviously, people who know the app know our assembly. That's kind of them gluing or snapping together. And I mean, we can also go a little bit into our section about hacks, because for most of the stuff that we are talking today, there are some hacks. And I mean, locking the 90 degrees, if you lock the dimensions around it, then it should stay locked at 90 degrees, right? So that's something that we use, and that would also in part be the answer for the precise snap tool for room assembly. Like in theory, if you lock everything, then it should be as precise as possible. But in the end, again, we want to give you something that is kind of a conclusive end result. And if you lock stuff that's in our mind not fitting, then we make minor adjustments. And like our number one ask is going to go back to this. So that is why in preparation of the call, I said to Silvia, okay, lots of them, they are so tied together. I'm having a hard time talking about them individually. But again, for this one, it's understood, it's on the roadmap. This is something that might actually come within the next 12 months, where we have an option where we say, okay, assembly by the user or assisted assembly by magicplan.
Perfect. And then we can go ahead with the possibility to see or have the roof in the 3D rendering.
Again, closely connected to our number two, so we're building the suspense here, most requested feature. Roof in a 3D rendering. I mean, historically, we've been doing floor plans and a 2D top-down view. We've extended this through the elevation and the 3D rendering. We are not yet there of doing the exterior, and I say yet But to be honest, that is something that we don't talk about internally at the moment. I mean, we talk about it now, but it's not something that we are actively investigating or pursuing. So having the roofs in the 3D rendering as much as having the kind of a more high fidelity view of the exterior, that is not something that we are currently working on and that we have scheduled for any time soon. So there we really try to focus our attention to the use cases that we see most fit, and that is mostly the interior of already existing buildings.
Okay, perfect. Then I would go ahead with the next feature request, which is split walls and change wall color. To give maybe a bit more of context, because sometimes we have, I don't know, a wall which can be, I mean, we can already split it, we can add a corner, but the users voting under this question were asking to have the possibility to let that dot, even if you don't change the wall. So you have, I don't know, different measurements on the same wall, but they're like 100% precise.
Yeah. And that is, again, it's tied into two of the topics we talked earlier. It's tied to our kind of assisting of assembling those individual rooms. And that is something that's, again, well understood. We are currently working on that, and we are going to provide a solution for this likely until or before the end of the year, so that you have actually different portions of a wall that you can, in a way, treat differently. The split walls and change wall color, I mean, talking about use cases, what is one of the use case we encounter often is if you have like a before and after or a demolition portion that you want to highlight in a different way. And that is like super well understood, fits the use cases nicely that we want to support. And it is something that we are actively solving on the back and can promise a remedy actually rather soon in our mind.
Okay, perfect. So this is on the roadmap.
This is on the roadmap, yes.
Okay, then I will go ahead with the next feature request, which is draw rooms inside of rooms.
Yeah. All the same mantra. Well understood. I think there's a hack around it. I know it's not perfect, but you can kind of like encapsulate one room with kind of two U-shaped rooms. So you have something similar. It is understood. To be honest, I'm questioning whether this really should be the highest priority of all. I'm not sure with this one if it's not sufficient to provide those hacks. That's not to say that we don't want to do it, but I mean, we are a comparatively small team. And I'm questioning a little bit the priority of this. So this is one of the feature requests where I always take the foot from the accelerator or maybe even hit brake a little bit. But nonetheless, I mean, I get the argument, right?
Yes. Okay, then we had almost 40 people, I would say 40 people, voting for this request, which is floor plan photo scan / import CAD drawings, so directly to create a project.
In magicplan. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, on this one, they have been combined to 40 votes, but it's actually 30-10. I think it's a split answer. The floor plan photo scan, I think the assumption is we have this import and draw functionality, but the assumption is, or the request is, we want a tool, some AI or whatnot doing this for us. My perspective, my point of view is you are, for the majority of use cases that we like to support and dearly support, you are almost just as fast in scanning the property than taking the picture and doing the edits. And then also the import of a photo quality can be an issue. Photo kind of how recent was the picture taken, and is that actually still true to what is built already? So there I have some reservations. So this is one of the topics where there's a full stop, hard no. We are not working on this. We also, again, we are not working on this because I think it is the impact versus the investment it would need to take. It's not feasible for us.
Also, we have the import and draw feature for now. So you import a picture and you quickly draw the rooms on it.
Yeah, and to be honest, like the import and draw is feasible, but sometimes tricky to use. But then again, 8 of the other topics that we are discussing today are going to support the import and draw functionality. Or make that workflow easier. And then the import CAD drawings, that is a bit there wouldn't be anything that says we shouldn't do that going forward. It's just, still don't think it's a main priority for us, for the simple fact that for the majority of projects that our user base is dealing with, there is no CAD drawing available. So that is just where we basically, for our target audience or the majority of our target audience, for the majority of use cases, we don't see that as a high priority. So we also don't spend too much time thinking about that.
Okay, perfect. Now, then I would go ahead with the next feature request, and then I would have a surprise for those who are new and so on. But I'm not going to tell it right now. I will tell it in some seconds. So I first let Andreas answer this one question. So include all object dimensions in statistics export.
Yeah, so this is a good one. I don't know who has joined the last session. If you want to re-watch it, we talked about a new era of magicplan. So we've been busy the past 15 months, really doing some heavy lifting under the hood. And this is going to be one of the results out of this. So we are going to define and design the export options and export files. And as a consequence, we are going to be able to include those all object dimensions in the statistics export. So the statistics export is going to be revamped, much more accessible, much more detailed, but kind of like different levels of detail as well. And this is one of the elements that is going to come with that. So there's a full yes on this one.
So all the voters for these feature requests will be happy now.
Yes. Well,
okay. Now, before we go ahead with the feature request, we have a beautiful surprise for those who are new users or that would like to try magicplan and would like to subscribe. So we decided together with our sales team to give you a code today, which is, let's say, valid for 48 hours. So from now, for 48 hours, you can click on the link that you find in the description. I will also put it in a pinned comment once the live is finished. So the code would be live1504 because it's 15% on every kind of subscription that you would like to try. So it's 50% off, and 04, it's for April. So it's live 1504. You put it all together as it's written here, and you can subscribe. It is a one-time use code, right? So if you decide to subscribe monthly, it will be, let's say, valid for 1 month. And if you decide to subscribe for 1 year, it will be a discount for the entire year. So I think it's a nice idea. So if you want to try one of our subscription types, this is a nice idea, I think.
Thank you, Sylvie.
Okay. So let me see in the comments. We have a question from Pedro. Can export the dimensions of the house in Excel?
Yes, you can. That is one of, like, we give for the statistics, we give different file formats, and one of them is a comma separated value or even XLSX. I don't recall currently. Maybe we even have both. And there you have all dimensions. So sorry, that's that is celebrating your surprise. And there you have all the dimensions in Excel, and also this one is one of those exports that we are currently working on revamping, and you can use that.
All right, so here we have the statistics as a CSV or PDF file. Okay.
CSV you can open in Excel and then process them just as you like.
Okay, then we have Alex. Can you add option to create custom format for estimates and reports or custom forms?
Custom format in terms of export format, I assume, Alex. So on this one, we are going to give you much more options to customize the estimate and the report. We have, yeah, basically that's it. So it's not going to look the same report, or we're just going to extend the options of customizing this. It's not going to be a full custom format for those estimates and reports, but it gives you a lot more options than we have today. So that is our first step. Then, depending on what your use case is, we can talk about that individually if you reach out to our customer success team, depending on kind of like how many reports we are talking about. And then one other option is actually tied to what Pedro just asked. I mean, we have seen clients implementing their own like highly custom exports through either asking our API and then building their own export, or using the Excel to basically fill some of the very custom forms that they have. I know that isn't kind of like the full answer, but those are two implementation possibilities that we've seen other customers using.
Okay, perfect. So I would go ahead with the next feature request, which is the option for not including furniture in the auto scan.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I mean, the auto scan, we labeled it beta because it is a bit of a departure of what we've done in the past, also tied to most of the other questions that we discussed today. And in that very first iteration, we didn't have enough time to prepare the elimination of the objects, but that is something that has come up repeatedly from some of our most heavy users, and that's something that we are currently working on and will ship within 2024. And yeah, I mean, on this one, I'm going to take this. No, yeah, I'm digressing. So full yes on this one. We are going to give you the option to not include any furniture in the auto scan. I give you one perspective still. I'm hard to teach on this one. I mean, we treat windows and doors and the likes as furniture. So some people may have different understandings of what is a furniture or what not. So that's one kind of complexity where we fear that we don't make everyone happy at the first time. So we need to find the balance or the different options on what we actually should include or should not. Mm-hmm. But that is something that we clearly understand and are working on, because it can be a bit tedious if you want to just have the basic layout and you need to delete all the different furniture options.
Perfect. So here we will also have some happy people, hopefully. Okay, then let's go ahead with another feature request. Then we will check the comments. I saw the comments already. Curved walls, because we have now the possibility to add the corners and to create a curved wall manually. But here it's more something more complex.
So yes, and to be, I mean, it ties into what we are trying to do in giving you something that you can work with without too much editing, and kind of the radius of the curved walls, yada yada yada, makes that all a bit more difficult. It is something that we acknowledge, and we are likely going to work on it, but we don't currently. So this is not going to happen in 2024. I know it's super frustrating if you are at a property and you spend the time and it's not working. Still, we have a few homework to do before we can talk about that.
Okay, perfect. So let me see. Let me check here the comments. Okay, I have Ronnie saying, "Are you planning to build further on the API?"
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the API has seen, or is basically seeing, revisions constantly. We have shipped quite a few revisions or extensions just the past couple of weeks and months. And again, as part of this new era of magicplan, this is one field that is going to benefit greatly. Also, not only in terms of the kind of breadth of like what you can query the API, but also how you're going to do it. So expect some major changes also in all of the documentation coming in the next months and until the end of the year.
But anyway, every time we have new, let's say, APIs and so on, in general, we like to talk more about it. So we will also maybe do other videos, etc.
Yes. And I mean, if you have something rather specific and detailed, I mean, again, please either use the Canny link to file those. That is an area that we want to support. This one, yeah, with almost no limitations, and it should be fairly easy to support whatever we have there. Good.
Then we have another question from Sam. Then we go to our top 3 because I saw other comments. I didn't pick some comments because, guys, those feature requests are in our top 3. But Sam asks, "Afternoon, hi. Any more details you can give us about the upcoming clean claims integration?"
Not at the moment, but rest assured, you will be, or we will be talking about as soon as more details are out and available.
Great. Then let's go ahead with our feature request number 3, add functionality to desktop.
This is full yes.
Question.
Actively working on it. We want to give you as much possibility to work on the desktop, adding stuff in terms of photos, notes. You're going to be able to create the estimate, and one day, which is also something that we are actively working on, but where we can't promise the time, also do kind of like the full edition on the desktop. So this is going to be more of a phased release, and as it's mentioned, add functionality. I mean, it's going to be feature after feature, but expect to see bigger developments faster now than you've seen in the past.
Great. Then I will move to number 2, add vaulted ceiling or sloped ceilings.
We kind of gave it away with the 3D rendering, but not actually. we are looking into this topic. It's also something that comes up quite regularly, as it's number 2, right? So this is one element that we've discussed in detail at our last magicplan industry forum. So we invite some of our biggest customers to kind of a magicplan forum where we talk about future developments, where we talk about the needs. And that was one of those big topics that we picked to discuss when this happened the last time. So again, fully understood, we are working on it. We are likely going to see a first version of it by the end of the year. Same as I said before, ease of use versus the complexity, I think needs to be a bit balanced on this one, but with kind of like the most straightforward use cases, we are going to deal with this before the end of the year.
Okay, perfect. And now we're coming to our top 1 request. Lucas asked this question 3 minutes after we started the live. Lucas, I saw your comment. Now I can show it. So yeah. I live in Czechia, and with the old buildings here, it's a problem. That one wall is 150 millimeters thick and other wall is 1000 millimeter thick, which then leads to a problem that the surface area does not match. So the first and most asked feature request is the individual wall thickness.
Yeah. So
what can you say?
100% understood. This is where we need to look into the past and the decisions that have been made prior, but we want to change this. We are also working on this, want to support this for the end of the year. I can offer a bit of an explanation, even though that doesn't change anything. It's again, kind of ease of use and how fast you can do it versus how accurate and how detailed do you need to actually input the data. And then also, I mean, it's a little bit of a problem between kind of building types in more kind of European countries where you have many old buildings versus more kind of like North American or more areas with more recent buildings that wall thickness changes that much. So fully understood, it has been on our radar for almost the past 10 years. And we are now, other than the times I was asked before, able to say, yes, we're working on it. And again, we are expecting a solution before the end of the year.
Perfect. Because we had more than 120 votes on this request. So
I mean, this is the most obvious. Among all, this is the most obvious. Yeah, not much to say. It's the most obvious. It's a little bit tricky if you go into the details of how you actually want the app to behave and the calculations, if you don't want to enter every single line, but yeah, that's the discussion for another day. I think for today we can say we are not deaf. We hope we have showcased this over the past years, where we had lots and lots of great user feedback, and yeah, we are really thriving off of that. So make use of Kenny. Thank you for attending the session today. Vote even more. I mean, compared to the thousands and thousands of users we have every day, that is, yeah, maybe it's a testament to it. We are not doing that bad. Maybe it's a testament we need to talk more about the feature requests. But yeah, so cool.
Okay, we have 2 more questions here. One is from Pedro saying AI and magicplan working together.
Independent adjusters, or I'm not sure what IA is.
It's probably AI.
You think so? Pedro, I'm sorry, caught off guard here.
So I think Pedro meant if magicplan and a possible AI could be, let's say, working together.
I mean,
or if we implement
using AI and some form of AI and machine learning since its very inception, and that's how we do some of the object recognition. That's how we do the electrical outlets. the plumbing, and so on and so forth. So it's ingrained in lots of the computer vision and stuff that we are doing there. And that is something that quite obviously is not going to become less. But it's going to be more and more.
Then Lucas says, thank you for answering the question about the wall thickness. And then I have Sam with the last question. Is there a view to have an open library where customers can share custom objects?
Not yet,
this
but
is a nice idea. No one asked me this question.
Yeah, because I thought about it just literally over the weekend. If we can use our tech setup to actually share this stuff. So, I mean, you obviously are aware of the custom object manager, and there should be a reason of sharing this. I think do we have one section in the community where we talk about kind of custom objects? I mean, my first question would be, let's see how many people are interested in the community and what objects people might trade, and then I think I'm sure we can work on a solution that we can make those objects available to the general public.
We have in the community, give me 1 sec, then I can share it, because I always have to pay attention not to share like data of other people, because I have the admin view. Let me see.
I think Sam, thank you for asking the question. Let's start talking about it in the community, and we are looking into one form or another where we can make that possible going forward.
So here we have some kind of, let's say, request and share, because we updated some of the, I would say, older objects, but some people like the older designs, so we added them here according to the requests that we got offline and under these posts here. So we have Katy that it's able to upload them here, but I'm not sure if it's exactly what Sam wanted, but just in case, you would find them there. Okay, perfect. Just to finish our video, I will remind you the one-time use code live1504 that you can use if you joined us after, let's say, 15 minutes that we were already talking. Maybe you missed this info, but if you're a new subscriber, you can click on the link under the video and you land to the perfect page where you can subscribe. And then you will add this discount code and you will have a discount of 15% on a monthly subscription or on a yearly subscription for one time. So, okay. Perfect. Andreas, thank you so much for your time today. And I think we have maybe one last question we can check with Ronnie. Any chance there will be an option to add custom room names from the selection menu, not having to change it later?
We talked about something similar also just 2 weeks ago. Let's say there is a chance, Ronnie, but we are currently investigating something similar, but we've not concluded our investigation. So there is a chance, but I can't give you a definite yes or no yet.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Andreas, again, thank you for your time. Thank you all for joining us. And for any feature requests, you saw the page, you feel free to add everything that comes to your mind and we will check every request.
Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you, Silvi, for preparing. Have a nice day. All right.
Thank you. Bye.